Did y'all know that the median household in America only has about $500 in their emergency fund? I got this from a news article from Empower.com, and it basically was going over the emergency fund for certain demographics like Gen Zs and all of that stuff. So I'm looking down. That's what I'm looking at. I want to just kind of, I'll put this on the screen, but it said that Gen Z has at least $400 in their account. Millennials have $300 in their account. The Gen X has $500 in their account, and the baby boomers have about $2,000. So, of course, the baby boomers are much older, much more experienced, and usually they start to have less and lesser expenses as they get older. One bad thing can happen, and that savings is wiped out. Like your HVAC or your car or whatever, anything can happen, and now all of a sudden you have no financial cushion. You have nothing really, no margin in place to combat some of the challenges that can happen in life. It could be a medical bill, it could be whatever. And, I just think that in today's society, we have to have multiple streams of income. That's one of the first things. Many people will tell you to decrease your expenses. And yes, you should do that where you can, right? Like if you can get a cheaper car insurance, you should probably shop around every single year or at least every couple years just to see what's out there and see if you can get something cheaper. Maybe you might get a better deal. In my opinion, I'm not from the camp of just cut all your bills because you can only cut so many bills, right? And by the way, you still want to enjoy your life. So you're not just cutting bills. You don't want to work so hard just to not be able to enjoy anything. And so to make that up, you want to, of course, budget well, of course, manage well, but also earn more, right? And in today's time, it's so easy to earn more. Right, we got the gig economy, so you can do lots of different gigs and stuff, and earn that extra income where you can have more coming in, because it's so important that you build a solid emergency fund, because otherwise you'll always be stressed, because when life happens, and guess what, life be life, and life is always going to happen. That's never going to change at every level too, by the way. So no matter how much money you make, there's always some form of life that's going to happen. The key is, do you have a financial cushion to offset that so that you're not stressed about it because you got something in place for that, right? That's the most important thing. That's the key. That's why I thought this article was very interesting. Number one is, like I said, budget well, but also earn more. I even suggest don't just earn more. Yes, earn more, but find ways to make it passive. I'll put down in the description, there's a guide that I wrote. It's 100 passive income ideas. So you're bound to find something in there that can be really, really helpful. It's a free guide, so you can get it at no cost. And even if you're one of the people who actually earn well, and you're thinking, well, I don't know if I need to make more money because I earn enough money. Well, if you're earning enough money, but it's like you're making 100,000 a year, but you're spending 120,000 a year, and maybe you don't even realize you're spending 120,000 because it looks on paper like I'm doing well, but you don't realize that more is going out than what's coming in. And so that's where we do need to kind of start looking at the budgeting and just start looking at, because sometimes when you start making more money, it's just easy to spend more. You start eating out more, you start doing more stuff. And all of that is okay, but we just have to make sure that we have a financial roadmap, a financial discipline. We are consciously aware of where we're going. What's our target? I would suggest that you have what I call a freedom goal, where you have a number that you want to get to. Like, I want to have this much in the bank as a cushion. I want to have this much in the portfolio invested that's working for me or growing. Does that make sense? And if you don't know my story, I was a broke college student at one point, working 3 jobs full-time in school. I was struggling. I wanted more out of life. I wanted to have a position where I could enjoy life, have fun, make good money, but not sacrifice on the time. Like, I wanted to be able to enjoy time with family and not have to be feeling like I was working all the time, because I often find either people make a lot of money and have no time, or they have a lot of time and have no money. I was number two. I had a lot of time. I didn't have a whole lot of money. And I wanted to have both, because what good is one without the other? Yes, saving is important, but saving is not the only answer. You want to save and have enough cushion But once you have that cushion in place, the next step, in my opinion, is outside of building multiple streams of income so you have enough cash flow and you can get through the different levels of success. And I'll talk about that in just a second. But you want to be investing as well because you do want to have a healthy portfolio. What is your net worth? And the net worth is important. Is the net worth is basically how much money you have in assets after everything is all paid for, everything is all done and over with, right? And so that's a number we want to be looking at if we're really serious about building. We don't want you to retire just to have all this money and be able to enjoy life at the end of your years of your life where you really can't even do much, right? Because maybe you might be in the most, the goal is to be healthy, of course, but as you get older, it starts to be less and less and less that you can do, or less and less that you actually want to do. But what if you can start to enjoy life in your 30s, in your 40s, because you're building solid things that can help you to and sustain you, and you have the cash flow to be able to do those things and the time freedom as well. So you have the cash flow and you have the time freedom and you're able to do it early on. You're not just relying on a 401k or a retirement later on in your life, but you're actually able to enjoy your life throughout your years. Okay. That's important. That's important to me. And if you follow me, matter of fact, go ahead and follow me if that's something important to you, because that's what we talk about on this channel. That's why I resonate with freedom so much. This whole concept and this whole conversation is part of the reason why I wrote this ebook called How to Never Struggle Again, because, and by the way, that'll be in the description as well. But understand this, most people find themselves between survival and crisis, meaning they work hard enough just to get out of crisis, and then they move themselves to survival. But survival is not where you want to be. You want to be past survival, because when life is lifing, you're going to go from survival back down to crisis. And so now you're like, okay, I got to get out of crisis. I got to get out of crisis. So you get out of crisis and you go back to survival. And it becomes this pattern. It becomes this loop where you just stay in between crisis and survival, crisis and survival. And so in the book, I talk about how to get out of crisis and out of survival and never have to be in survival mode again. Because when you go to what I call the success line, and then from there you go to the new success line and you keep on going past it. So when you do have life happen, because like I said, life is going to happen at every level, when you start implementing the framework that I have in this ebook, when life happens, you won't fall down to survival or crisis because you've already gone way past that. Because most people stop at survival instead of going way past that and getting to a point where they'll never have to find themselves struggling again. You ever realize that life happens to some people, it doesn't really seem like it makes them flinch? And then other people, when life happens, it's like it takes some years sometimes to recover. I've met people like that. Like it takes them years to recover because they never did some of these steps. They never had a cushion in place. They never went past survival. And it was always about really living in survival. There is a strategy. If you want to grab that, you can. But my whole point in doing this video is I thought that article was very interesting. And let me just read one more thing from the article real quick. It said that 1 in 2 people are stressed about their emergency/savings. And 52% regret not starting a contingency plan sooner. If you start to study, you come across platforms like this, YouTube, and different pieces of information, when you know better, you do better, right? And that's all I wanted to talk about here today, is how you can do better. And it's only because I needed to do better and I needed a system. I needed something. And that's why, if it worked for me, I wanted to put something in place that can help you as well. And so I hope you got some value from this. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on your notification bell so you don't miss any other videos that we share. We are Code Freedom. My name is Eddie Bales, and we'll see you over the top. Take care, everyone.